Hi everyone, today I'm going to compare childhood in the 1970s and childhood today. I read a book, When You Reach Me, and I also interviewed my aunt, who grew up in Taiwan in the 1970s. Let's get started. So, what is this project about? First, I read a book, When You Reach Me. Hitch is set in New York City in the late 1970s. Second, I interviewed my aunt about her childhood in Taiwan. And third, I compare both of those with my own experience growing up today. So, I will talk about my main argument. My main argument is growing up in the 1970s wasn't better or worse. It was just different. Let me show you why. Yeah. Now I will talk about freedom and independence. So let's start with the first category, freedom and independence. How much freedom did kids have back then compared to now? So from the book, Miranda's Freedom. In the book, Miranda is what they call a latchkey kid. That means she walks home from school alone, uses her own key to open the door, and stays by herself until her mom gets back from work. She also walks through New York City by herself every day, past strangers and dangerous corners. Her mom gives her safety rules, but she doesn't walk with her. So my aunt told me something similar. She said back then parents didn't really watch over kids. You could go whatever you wanted, as long as you could walk there, ride your bike or take the bus. She played outside with neighbor kids every single day until it got dark. Dark, sorry. But today, it's very different. Most of my classmates get driven to school by their parents. After school, we go straight to cram school or tutoring classes. We have much less free time. Parents also use GPS to track where we are all the time. So, why did this change happen? I think there are a few reasons. First, traffic is much dangerous now. Second, parents see more scary news on TV and online. And third, families have fewer children today, so parents tend to overprotect us. Now, I will talk about communication. How did kids stay in touch back then? So, from the book, no phones and just notes. In the book, the mystery stranger communicates with Miranda through handwritten notes, hidden inside library books or in the bread bag at a sandwich shop. No texting, no email. The book also mentions phone booths because in the 1970s, once you're left home, nobody could reach you unless you found a payphone. Yeah. So from the interview, we just walk over. My aunt also said that they didn't use the phone much. She told me she saw each other at school every day, so she just made plans then, or they just walked to someone's home, and also said that sometimes parents would listen in on the phone, home phone, so just at home. So I will talk about today. So now we use Line and Instagram every day. We send message anytime, share stories and chat in groups. At school, we use iPads and Google Classroom. But there's a downside, like when someone reads your message but doesn't reply, it creates stress and misunderstandings. Yeah. Now I will talk about friendships. Next, let's look at friendships. How did kids make and kids friends? In the book, friendships happen in real life. When Miranda and Sal's friendship ends, he tells her face to face. In the building lobby, she can text him or check his social media. Later, she makes a new friend just by asking a classmate to go to lunch. All friendships grow from meeting in person. So, from the interview, my aunt also says she played with friends every single day. She told me not one day went by without playing. They didn't have toys. They made they made their own fun. So they rode bikes, played house, and spun tops. So today, I'm in a small class, so everyone knows each other. We play together at school and chat during breaks. After school, we keep talking online and Instagram. We share memes and post stories, but then we fight with some things. Post on social media or leave message on read. Instead of talking face to face, it makes things harder to fix. Finally, let's talk about technology. Maybe the biggest difference between then and now. So, in the book, Miranda's mom tried to get on the TV game show called the 200,000 Pyramids. When she finally gets chosen, the whole family treats it like a huge deal. They practice for 21 days, and even the elderly people at the nursing home watch the show together. With only a few TV channels, one show was a big share moment. The book also mentions mimeograph machines, a machine that made paper copies one by one. No computers, no printers, no internet. So my aunt say she had a TV and a record player at home. Her older brother played Nintendo, but she didn't. Her favorite things were comic book, like Doraemon and the author of the Nile. She had so fun. She had fun by herself. Now, I use a smart alarm clock to wake up. At school, I bring my iPad and teacher use Google Classroom for homework. After school, I watch YouTube and play mobile games if there's no internet. I feel bored and don't know what to do. Technology makes life faster and more convenient, but we also lost the chance to explore and create things on our own. Now, let's think about the bigger questions. How does the setting, the time and place change the meaning of the story? Well, so would the story would work the same way today? I don't think so. If Miranda had phone, the mysterious stronger could just text her. So if she had Google Maps, she wouldn't get lost or scared on the streets. But more importantly, Miranda's independence is what makes the story happen. So Miranda also talks to school alone, faces danger alone, and solves problems alone. That's how she meets strength, characters, and grows as a person. If she parents drove her everywhere, the story wouldn't exist. So the setting isn't just background, it shapes everything the characters experience and who they become. So big clam. So there's the big question. Was growing up in the 1970s better, worse, or just different? So I think was just different. In the book, Miranda has freedom in New York, but there's also real danger. She meets the laughing man and almost gets hurt. My aunt had freedom in Taiwan too, but she also taught me about scary moments like being followed by a creep in a bookstore and almost getting hit by a bus. She said parents weren't less worried. They were just busy making money. Some people might disagree. They might say today is better because it's safer, or being protected is more important than having freedom. And that's a fair point. Safety is important, and I understand why parents worry more now. But for there, I think every generation has its own challenges and its own gifts. Growing up in the 1970s was just different, not better, not worse, but both times have good things and bad things. Thanks for watching. The book I read was When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead, and I want to thank my aunt for sharing her childhood stories with me. Bye bye.